Welcome to Brunch with Brian this morning. It's Friday. It's Formal Dining Room Friday, as always. And it is actually National Christmas Tree Day today. So if you have not set up your Christmas tree yet, today is the day. And today's the day I'm going to set mine up, or else I would have it in my shot here, but I don't have it set up yet. So when I come back on Monday, maybe the first one we'll do, it'll be by the Christmas tree. It's also Hanukkah is starting, so uh, celebration and congratulations and happy days to all of our Jewish friends. So Hanukkah is starting off, and so we're all celebrating the season. So let's have a wonderful Christmas season. Set up your Christmas tree today if it's not up yet. And it's obviously Friday, so let's focus on the weekend. I always like to look at the weekend when it's Friday. And remember, what's our KPI for the week in terms of phone calls? We got to make 20 calls a week at least, minimum 20. Now, you can make a lot more than that. You could make 100 calls in a week, but 20 minimum opening and closing calls to sellers and buyers. Now, buyers you're not going to talk to unless you got a house for sale. So that's a good thing when you start talking to buyers. But primarily you're focusing on sellers in the beginning. Remember what we can focus on. We always have opening calls we can make. So you can always call FSBOs, and you're going to run out of FSBOs in your own market. So that's why I want you branching out into other cities. Cities where, if you can find good cities where you can find nice homes that families would want to live in, between the prices of about 80 and 150,000. So where you live may not have houses like that, or may surprisingly have houses like that. You think the houses are all more expensive, but you haven't gone out, you haven't checked out the whole areas, all areas of town. So, when you're driving for dollars, that's the area I want you in mostly. The less expensive, the lower priced homes. Now, I'm not saying that there's not great deals, and I don't want you to shy away from the expensive homes. If you get a call from a seller, or you call a seller and the house is a $750,000 house, that could still be a great deal. Now, it just depends on what the price, what their current mortgage payment is and what you can get rent. So if there's a spread there, there's a deal to be had. Okay, if their mortgage payment is lower than what you can get for rent, that's a potential deal. And so sometimes you're going to run into people whose homes are very expensive, and a $900,000 home, and you think, now remember, we have that 1% rule. You guys know the 1% rule? The 1% rule is important, and I want you guys to remember it. So it's pretty simple formula. It's rent equals 1% or more, 1% plus of value. Okay, so this applies if you're looking at properties where the homes are 80 to 150. Now, where does that start to skew off? Where does the 1% rule start to go wrong? Around 200,000. So if you're looking at a $200,000 house, it's probably unlikely, although not impossible, to get $2,000 a month rent for that house. But between that range of about 80 to 150, that's where that 1% rule really applies. Now, you're going to see houses that are, especially if you're getting new financing for right now, for sure, anything under, 200 is a possibility. Anything over 200 is probably not with where rates are now. However, if someone has a $500,000 house or $1 million house, and that's not going to, there's no way that's going to fit the 1% rule. Okay, no way. So, but does that mean that's a dead deal? That's not a good cash flow deal? No, because what's their current payment on it? Their current payment might be way, way less than the 1% rule. So like one of our properties, it's worth about $950,000. Okay, but the payment on it's only $1,847. And the rent is like $3,500. So you got a huge spread there, over $1,600. And so that's the kind of properties that, I don't necessarily, sometimes I wouldn't mind if you targeted those specifically. Some of our students will actually target properties between $500,000 and $2 million that are vacant. Okay, if you can find properties like that, you got some super motivated sellers. And whatever they're just looking for debt relief. that house is sitting there vacant. It's eating them alive. Just property taxes and maintenance and insurance is going to be a lot on a more expensive house like that. So that's, I don't mind you targeting houses like that. And I think it would be a worthy exercise maybe this weekend to actually look at some houses, go in Zillow, and you can tailor your searches in Zillow. Now, you might have another software program that you can find properties through. We do. And so, you can target specific properties. In Zillow, you can do a search for $500,000 to $2 million. And, you can find properties in that price range that are for sale, and hopefully that are vacant. And even if they're not vacant, that's usually a motivated seller in those higher price ranges right now. The buyers have really dried up in that area because of the interest rates. The interest rates went up, and now buyers who want more expensive homes are sitting on their hands and just waiting until the rates come back down. So that's why those sellers are super motivated. You see some of them where the house has been on the market, 90 days, 120 days or something like that, where you can really get a great deal. So don't, neglect the homes in the higher price ranges. But if you have homes in your area that are 80 to 150, I would get out there and drive for dollars in those areas. Look for properties, look for distressed properties. And remember, so where are you at in terms of your 20 calls for this week? Where are you at right now? And I hope you're keeping track, or else you're not going to know. So hopefully, the day for us, the week starts on Monday. So the week starts Monday. Hopefully you're making some calls during the week. You could make up the whole week on your weekend. You could easily sit down on Saturday and literally knock out 20 calls, and it might only take you a couple hours. So that's not impossible, but I do want you to make calls throughout the week. Don't wait till the very end of the week to try to catch up. Okay. So, morning there. How you doing, Robert? You're always there. Have a great weekend. Always there with your nice emojis. Where is everybody today? Guys, chime in. I like to see you. I like to hear from you when you're on. So, so let's focus up this weekend. Have a good weekend. Set your Christmas tree up. Tell your Jewish friends happy Hanukkah, and let's have a great productive weekend this weekend. All right. So let's do. I make my calls. I love making calls. That's a good one. I love making calls, and you do get to love it. And if you just tell yourself you love it, you come to love it. Okay. And then it starts to create huge revenue for you, and then you really love it. So I love making calls. Let's do that one. That's our affirmation for today. 3 times on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I love making calls. I love making calls. I love making calls. Now, even if you're watching this on a repeat, you're getting involved. You're doing your affirmations. You're doing your deep breathing, right? So let's do our deep breathing. Nice deep breath in. Feels so good. Let it out. Relax your shoulders and your neck. Another deep breath in. With a big smile. Let it out. Okay, one more deep breath. Really good. Boy, that just gets you going, doesn't it? It gets you invigorated, gets your mindset going, starts you thinking the right way. Hey, Caleb, awesome to see you, as always. So, guys, let's have a wonderful weekend, and let's make our calls, and let's make some money. All right. So until I talk to you on Monday, keep expecting success, getting awesome training from the Wolf Couple, and doing what? Yes, what Lynette always tells us, her motto, take action.